It goes without saying that the Emir's Palace in Kano State has a rich history. Built more than 700 years ago, the palace is the oldest and largest of its kind in Nigeria. The grounds span 33 acres, guarded by walls that reach as high as 15 feet. It is the official residence of the Emir of Kano, Bayero II, who briefly welcomed Arise News into the marvelous building. Arise News correspondent Adefemi Akinsanya was recently in Kano, which is affectionately referred to as the Pyramid City. And here is a report on the Emir of Kano's Grand Palace.
There's history on almost every corner of Kano. With a population of more than 13 million, it's Nigeria's second most populous city behind Lagos. Centuries before British colonizers arrived, Kano was surrounded by a wall which covered an area stretching 24 kilometers. All entry and exit to the city was only via 13 gates, like this one. The gates would close during wartime, protecting the land and its inhabitants. The barricade has largely been destroyed or is in disrepair, but it keeps that distant backstory in the forefront of the minds of the people who pass beneath it. Still on the theme of history, there aren't many places in Kano more historic than the Emir's Palace. The structure was first completed in 1482 by Mamadou Rumfa, who ruled Kano as Sultan for 36 years until 1499. Since then, 23 sultans and 14 Fulani emirs have called the palace home. Bayero II is the current emir. He's who this group of drummers and singers are hailing. With their music in the background, our tour begins. The decorations on the walls are vibrant. Each colour has its own meaning. Green symbolising Islam, yellow showing peace, and red for warriors. We enter a room with distinct royal trimmings. Our guide, Jamila, shows us pictures of the former emirs adorning the walls. One of them is her great-great-grandfather. Indeed, we're in great company. It's a wonderful room. You see the emirate councils will be sitting down. Right before our eyes is arguably the main feature of the decadence on display. The Emir's throne is a sight for sore eyes. The colours, craftsmanship and comfort bring another layer of wonder to the room. Majlis Seriki loosely translates into the King's Court. It's a reception area where the Emir of Kano receives high-level guests. It's also where he takes meetings with his own ministers. 22 seats towards the back represent spaces for low-level officials and 20 more towards the front for high-level officials. And for the Emir's most esteemed guests, there's a seat on each side of his throne. Majlis Seriki is a beautiful sight, a spectacle, a beauty to look at. And it was recently renovated by the current Emir's immediate predecessor, Mamadou Sanusi II, who was abruptly dethroned on the 9th of March 2020. There are more renovations to be found throughout the grounds of the palace, but with the Emir about to leave, our plans to take a tour of the entire grounds are thwarted. We've been asked to wait for his arrival with a few of his relatives and close associates. It gives us the chance to marvel at more architecture in the ancient buildings. The Emir is travelling to Sokoto at the request of the Sultan. It's his first official visit there since he ascended to the throne in March. A routine journey with an extraordinary beginning. We didn't need to be told. We could hear the Emir would soon be making an appearance. A brief greeting, and the Emir, along with his dozen-strong entourage, make their way to the car. Men in green and red surround the vehicle as he enters. It's forbidden to see the Emir as he sits down or stands up. Once he's seated, the men clear the way, allowing the last greetings and salutes to be made. And then off the convoy go to the airport, ahead of the flight to Sokoto. With his departure, our time at the palace draws to an end. But as ever, the history of Kano continues, and it includes every part of the place, from the pit to the palace. Adefemi Akinsanya, Arise News, Kano.
Well, a lot of history there. Brilliant report, as usual, by Adefemi Akinsanya. And Kano, of course, is very strategic in the history of the North. She was talking about the wall. Yeah. I mean, the British, they managed to capture that wall, I think, in 1903. Yeah. But since then, you know, Kano has since emerged as a very important cultural, commercial, you know, and political center. And look at the palace of the Emir there, the little bit of it that we could see. You see a preservation of history. You see art. Culture. You see architecture and culture coming together. And you could see the excitement on the faces of the three ladies who were in that shot, and Adefemi herself reporting. I mean, I'm surprised that, you know, they opened the doors, you know, and allowed them to take pictures and all that. It shows, you know, a monarchy that has since modernized that has, you know, become a meeting point for both tradition and modernity. But beyond the palace is the city of Kano itself. That's the home of so many prominent Nigerians. That's where the richest African comes from, Alhaji Aliko Dangote, and so many other prominent Nigerians that are from that particular city. But it's also a city for everyone, because I recall, you know, many people from the East who have established in Kano, people from all parts of Nigeria. You know, there is a part of the place that they call, is it Sabungiri?
Sabungiri,
yes, you know, and, well, I mean, we're glad that in recent times there have not been cases of reported violence in the city of Kano, because in the past, when we had such cases, it was always, you know, destructive, particularly if it extended to the Sabungiri. And we hope that once COVID-19 goes, Kano, like other cities in Nigeria, will be able to return to normalcy, because Kano is really, you know, a major hub in the northern part of the country.
In fact, Femi was there at it's called Gidan Rumfa. That's the palace. I think Rumfa's place in the translation in Hausa.
Rumfa.
Gidan
Rumfa. That's the Emir. I think around is it 1843 or so?
Yeah, many years ago.
And he did a lot of reform, and modernized.
He did a lot
Mohammed Rumfa.
Yeah,
that was the name of the
did a lot of. So it's called Gidan Rumfa. It's built it long ago. Kano is rich. The commercial viability of Kano is very, very strong. I mean, prior to colonial times, Kano used to have one of the biggest grains markets, you know, all over the Sahelan and West African belt. Kano is noted for its culture, its art, its big walls, like you talked about. That was captured.
That is the beauty
that was captured in the time of when the British came in 1903. Like you said, in fact, Lord Lugard did write about the wall and wrote about the fortification of the Kano wall, that he had not seen anything of that nature in Black Africa. But sadly, the colonialists captured Kano under Emir Aliyu, then in Kano. Kano is rich in history. Very, very, very influential city, respected all over the world, a melting point, you know, for all tribes in this country. Very cosmopolitan. You talked about Sabungiri, where the Igbos are. There's also a big Yoruba population too in Kano. It's also a big industrial port, industrial area, you know, the Bompai Industrial Estate, for instance. A lot of products are made out of Kano and the likes. When we talk about the viability of the textile industry in Nigeria, we cannot but remember Kano, because that was the heartland of the textile industry in the north. A lot of textile companies and the like providing jobs for people in Kano. And like you said, the entrepreneurial spirit, goodness me, you can't but celebrate Kano.
And politically, if you ignore Kano to be at your own detriment.
It has the population, it has large number of local governments, and then, of course, it's called the Pyramid City.
Pyramid City,
yes.